Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to learn about interesting command, which is chmod command. So this is the syntax. So we'll see about the syntax, how to execute it. So first of all, let me just open my terminal, navigate to, let me say, desktop. And if I say ls, this is going to give us the information that is inside this desktop. So the next thing is I want to list everything about this. So all you need to do is simply ls and la, which will give every information including these privileges. So here you can see these are the syntax over here, and now we have the file group. This is basically the first one is for the owner and the second one is for the file group. So every file has this type of permission over here. So you can see we have this D, which stands or basically which refer to the directory. That means this demo1 is directory, and if it is dash, that means it is a file. So any of the privilege that starts with D is for directory, and if it is single dash, that means it is the file. So next one from that is the 3 character, which basically is for the owner, and the next one 3 is for the file group, and the next one 3 is any other user, that is except for the file group and for the owner, because we have already specified for the owner. So let me just grab one of these. So let me say I want to grab this demo1. So let me just grab these characters. So let me just copy this and let's go back to our editor, that is text editor, and let's paste down here. So I've already said you that if you see here, this D is for the directory. If it was single dash, it means it was the file, but if it is with D, that means it is a directory, and the next 3 letters or the character is for the owner. And if you see here, it is RWX. So what this RWX means is it is the mode. So you can see here it is read, write, execute. That means owner can read this directory, write to this directory, and execute this directory or manipulate this directory. So owner can do anything inside this directory. If I say something like dash, because if I start with the dash, that means it is a file, and if I say R and dash and x or dash dash, that means it starts with dash, that means it is a file, and these first three character is for the owner. That means owner can only read the file, he cannot write to the file or he cannot execute that file. So this is the mode, and after these 3, the next 3 is for the file group. So file group can read that file and they cannot write to that directory basically, and they can execute that directory. So next 3 is for the group, that is other than that of the owner and the file group, which only can read and execute, not can write to that directory. If it was something like let me say write and execute and read dash dash, so that means it is a file where owner can only read the file, file group can read, write, execute to the file, and the other user can only read that file. They cannot write to the file, they cannot execute that file, which is basically the mode of operations over here. So if you want to change this basically the syntax or basically the privilege to that file, so let me just open again the terminal, and if you see in this test.txt, you can see that it is a file because it starts with the dash. RW is basically the privilege for the owner, so they can only read and write, they cannot execute that file, and for the file group they can only read, and for the other user they can also only read. If you want to change this privilege of this test.txt to something that everyone can do anything to that file, you have to make use of this chmod command, which will make changes to this privilege of this file system. So let's go back over here and see the syntax first. So we have chmod command, which is going to change that privilege. It will just basically make the changes to the file permission. So next one is the option. So option here is the recursive or a force or a verbose. We have a couple of, we have for the basically which will just suppress most error messages. It will be done forcefully. We have something like the other option like C, which is for the changes. It can be -C, which is for the changes. It can be the version or anything. So first of all, here is the recursive. So this is important. So recursive is going to change the files and directory recursively. And next option here is a force. So this F option will suppress most of the error messages. And the next one is verbose over here, which is the V, which will just output a diagnostic for every file that is being processed, because this is going to give any information that is being processed. So we'll just do this R mode, and we can just assess the permission using this octal mode. So we can also do a symbolic way, but that is very much harder than this. So we'll just see the octal now. So here is the for the honor, which is basically this first 3 character refers to the honor, and the next 3 is for the group, which is your file group. From here to here, it is for the file group, and the next is for the others. So let me just go to the terminal again. I want to grab this permission, so let me just grab copy this permission, and let's go back to here. Now I want to change this permission. So this is file, so we cannot do anything for this file. So next one is for this RWX. So I want to change this RWX to the letter. So if you see here, if you just pass 4, 2, 1, this is basically for read, write and execute. So if you add everything over here, if I add 4, 5, 6, 7, so everything is for 7. So let me just give you a real quick example. So if I say chmod, let me make a space first. If I say chmod and I want to give the letter, I want the file to be read by everyone, executed by everyone and write by everyone. So first 7 refers to the honor. So if you just give 7, that honor is going to read, write and execute. But if you give something like only 2, if you just give only 2, the honor cannot read. So this is not possible. But if you just give 2, the honor cannot read, he can only write, and he cannot do executions to that file. If you do something like only 4 over here, the honor only can read that file, he cannot write, he cannot execute. So all you have to do is you have to add all of these letters or all of these characters in order to give the permission. If I say 7, then this first 7 is for the honor, and he can read, he can write, he can execute, because 4 plus 2 is 6 and plus 1 is 7. For the second character, it is for the group. So if you want to assign the permission for the group, if you assign something that is character 7, this 7 refers to the group, which indicates that that file group can read that file, write that file and execute that file. If you do something like only 4, then that group can only read the file, they cannot execute the file, because 2 is for the execution. If you say something like 6, then they can read that file, write that file, but they cannot execute. If you do 7, then they can do everything. So next one is if you just pass again 7, that is for the other user, which is not belongs to honor in the file group, and they can also read that file, write that file and execute that file. After that, you can simply pass here text.txt or any file name over here or any directory name. So this is the way. So if you want to change the file name, which is for this test.txt, all you need to do is use this command. So let me just copy this, which refers that we are doing these changes to the file recursive mode, in the recursive mode, and 7 means this file can be read and write and execute by the owner. Another 7 means this can be read and write and execute by the file group, and only 4 means it can be only read by other user, they cannot write and execute. So let me just copy this and go to the terminal, and you'll simply see here that is in the recursive mode 774 was for that permission, and give the test.txt. It is test.txt, which is your file name which you want to give the permission. So if I just hit enter, now if I say lsl, it should be lsela, then you can see now permission has been changed. So you can see it was something that is with the white over here. Now it has turned to the green, and you can see the permission now has been changed like here. So it can be read, write, execute by the owner. It can be read, write, execute by the, let me just make bigger. So it can be read, write, execute by the owner. It can also be read, write, execute by the file group, but it can only be read by other person, that is not owner and the file group, which was assigned the number, which was basically assigned by this number, which is 774 over here. So first character is for the owner, second is for the group, and the third one is for the other people or other user that is going to just access this file. So this is the way in order to assign the permission to the file with this mode, read, write and execute mode. And this is the simple options, like we can use the recursive mode, and mostly we'll use this recursive and force mode, and use this mode, and that is basically your read, write, execute, which should be assigned with this character way, in this octal way, which is basically assigning by this character. 7 refers that they can read, write, execute, and basically we'll just assign this character to that file name to assign the permission to each of these file names. So this is the way to just use chmod command. In the upcoming lecture, we'll see now the further aspect of the Kali Linux and how to just make use of this command in the hacking. So see you in the next one.